So welcome everybody to this session of the HubSpot Admin Hug. Super excited to have Dylan Sellberg here to talk about ChatSpot. Dylan, go ahead and take it away.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kyle. Before I jump in, question, how much time do we have for Q&A? Because I will tailor the presentation based on that. How vocal is this audience?
Very vocal. And given that there are 242 people in the room, I anticipate kind of a lot of questions.
I prefer those, so I'll keep that in mind. And my plans are to give a high-level walkthrough of ChatSpot, some of my favorite things that ChatSpot does, and then open the floor up for everybody to talk about what's on your mind with the future, the past, the present, and how ChatSpot's working today.
Awesome.
So for those of you who have not met ChatSpot yet, ChatSpot is HubSpot's sales and marketing AI assistant. It looks and feels a bit like the now famous ChatGPT, but is very different in that it's specifically designed for salespeople and marketers. And that is how we intend and plan to continue to differentiate ChatSpot in this emerging space where you see generative AI tools popping up left and right. We have a firm belief that there is not ever going to be a single AI assistant, an LLM backed generative tool for all use cases. I'm very convinced that you will, as a marketer, as a salesperson, really as anybody, interact with several different products that look a lot like this throughout your day, but that are just really good at a specific task. Because that specific task application is very, very important to do an effective job. What I call these everything machines. When you look at ChatGPT, for example, if you've used it for any nuance, you'll notice that it really breaks down fast. It's not intended or works that well when you're really scattershotting or trying to really push the boundaries of use cases. So what we intend for ChatSpot to be is the sales and marketing specific use case, and service as well, use case for generative AI applications. So with that, I will share screen and I will take you to the ChatSpot homepage. Just walk you through our value prop a bit more. Okay, looks like we're on the right one. This is my first experience with Bevy, so I will I'll be checking in a bit here.
So we are seeing ChatSpot, just so you know.
Okay, great. So the new ChatSpot landing page, this was refreshed live on June 1st. The original version that Dharmesh had launched, and I should actually pause there. Dharmesh built an incredible amount of this product with a very small team and set us up for really an incredible future here. The launch happened on March 6th. The product had functionality that was spread both between HubSpot specific use cases and non. It had a lot of Dharmesh's signature quips and flavor Easter eggs and things that he adds to a product. And ultimately, the success was so incredible. We said, hey, this thing needs to scale. Let's bring this to more HubSpot users. Let's create a dedicated HubSpot team around it, and let's see what we can do. So a la version 2, still alpha stage. On June 1st, we launched this new website and an official redesign of the product. So the general positioning of ChatSpot is chat smarter, not harder. AI, that means business. And the way that we plan to differentiate ChatSpot is in 3 very key and unique ways. The first is unique data points. ChatSpot does this really remarkable thing is it uses an LLM, a large language model, to understand the intent of a user, what task they're trying to accomplish. It goes and fetches any number of data sources, sometimes 1, sometimes 4, sometimes 5, combines them into a single result. Those unique data points, the combination of them are not available through any product like it. Nothing I've seen can do this, including your everything machine of ChatGPT. They're just not going to be in the business of accessing some of this unique sales and marketing data. So that's something that we really value as a use case and a differentiator. The second is being tailor-made to sales and marketing. AI that knows your style and your format and your flow is going to be critical in this space as it evolves, as it picks up more and more speed every day. Not needing to reinvent the wheel every time you talk to ChatSpot. And knowing who you are as a salesperson and a marketer is really important. A good example of that is how a lot of ChatSpot results right now will render in tables. That's a very effective way to read data for a salesperson or marketer when they're looking for a bunch of data, right? You don't want that in a paragraph format. You can also imagine a future where editing blog content or editing social posts, where ChatSpot adds tracked changes. Like one of the things I've originally used ChatGPT for was editing content, but it's really difficult once you edit that content to like sift through the 2 paragraphs line by line and figure out what's changed. So that's something we have not built yet, but a really good example of where we plan to go to like tailor the use case for sales and marketing. And then the final is a personalized AI companion. We have the data-backed HubSpot product and the ability to know so much about your business and your customers, who you sell to, what you sell, why you sell to them, your website pages, your forms, your closed-won deals, everything about your business that's stored in HubSpot. We can effectively feed that to an LLM and give you better results. So if you're really into like prompt engineering, you've seen the talks and the tweets and the LinkedIn posts and everything in between of folks like really outlining the best prompts in the world. What those ultimately look like is somebody feeding a ton of data to the machine every single time. Now it's fine and you get good results, but HubSpot has that data already. So we can transform that and pass it to an LLM in a way that is most effective for you and your business. So we're really excited about the opportunity here. Some of the key use cases, which I'll walk through tangibly in just a second, are sales prospecting, content generation, really like inline imaging, depth of insights, things like funding rounds, locations of a business and the technologies they use, and the SEO expertise right at your fingertips. All of that, everything I just mentioned, is applicable to everybody in the world, whether they're a HubSpot user or not. Where ChatSpot starts to get much, much better is when you're integrated with HubSpot. So we can do things like a sales assistant, adding contacts in using natural language, creating notes, tasks, things like that. The best use case here, I talked to a sales manager recently who said during their team meetings, there's somebody who's taking notes. That person who's taking notes doesn't need to hop between records. They can simply just hop into ChatSpot and create data from there. Seamless content sharing, we have this ability, we call them quick actions. I originally called them power-ups, which I like much better of a name, but it's a bit less explicit. And so these power-ups, what they do is very simply, when you have content created, as an example, through ChatSpot, in one click, you can just post that right to HubSpot. No need to copy, paste, anything like that. It's right in your HubSpot blog drafts. Very cool. CRM integrated, being able to understand what is in your CRM and what is not is another key value prop. And then finally, ChatSpot can help you use HubSpot. We have 2 prompts right now, using the knowledge base and navigating to a specific app, where we will provide you direct information or direct insight on how to use HubSpot using only your natural language questions.
If I can hop in right there, Dylan, just to interrupt you, Peter dropped an interesting question in the chat that I'm sure a lot of people have around privacy. He says, why do I want OpenAI to have access to PII, which I never gave them permission to? How do you and how does ChatSpot think about privacy and access to information? And is it being shared with OpenAI? And can you talk to that a little bit?
Yeah, it is a very complicated space right now. I think nobody has the best answer to this, including OpenAI. The thing that I would recommend is you can turn the assistant off. You cannot use OpenAI. You cannot use these products. Given how new the space is, right? Like we were all swept up by storm basically during the holidays last year. Like everybody's first interaction was 4, 5, 6 months ago. If you remember how long it took GDPR to even take effect, like there's just a sampling of how complex the data issues are there. I think if you are in a regulated industry or customer data is very specifically protected to you, I wouldn't use these products right now. We do have an official legal stance and a data privacy stance and information on everything that we send to OpenAI, everything we do not, on our website and under the FAQ tab. So you can access that all here. Where is the data? How is OpenAI using it? All of that. But like my recommendation is like, if you're not sure, and this is just a world of worry for you, if the juice is not worth the squeeze, because quite honestly, all of these products and all of these frameworks and all of this privacy and regulation is so new. It's a really quickly changing environment. And so I wouldn't recommend hanging my head on any of that.
Cool. Thanks for that.
Yeah. not a lawyer. I'm not in data privacy either. So I hope that was a effective answer there. But we do have the answers on the website. Would definitely recommend checking them out. And of course, if you have specific questions, and there are things that we hear a lot of, we have a dedicated legal and privacy team to everything happening in generative AI. In fact, I think most of HubSpot's legal and privacy team is thinking about that right now. We will certainly be publishing and updating these as well as additional resources in the future. All right. So moving into the app, I do just want to show off a quick few use cases and then open it up to questions. So right now I am in ChatSpot. No content has been sent or shared quite yet. I am operating.
Dylan.
Oh, sorry.
That's good.
First time using Bevy. Love
No
it. We're gonna do. I'll just stop share and reshare.
Yeah, that's probably best.
Here we are. Now we're here, right?
Yep, looks good.
Perfect. Great. So ChatSpot, as I mentioned earlier, can operate in two modes, if you will, connected to a hub and not. So right now I'm in ChatSpot. You can tell I'm not connected to a HubSpot account. There's no indication here. Also, when you are connected, and I will just do this just for kicks. Let's put me in the ChatSpot hub. You will see the HubSpot icon. So there's like a quick indicator there of whether or not you are operating in a hub. When you are using a connected HubSpot hub, you will see a handful of net new prompt templates showcased over here on the left. And also these types of prompts will begin to work. So that's the basics of like operating within and outside of ChatSpot. If you're familiar with ChatGPT, things look mostly similar with the exception of templates. Templates are ChatSpot's way, our way as a product of explaining to you, the user, what ChatSpot is good at and what it's not. Now, we put this in a lot of places. It's an alpha product. Please be patient. The best thing to do and the best way to use ChatSpot right now is to start with the templates, learn what ChatSpot can do by way of the templates, and then just expand and understand the syntax and the different types of features and use that to eventually use freeform if you'd like, or stick with templates. So I'll show off a few use cases. I'll start with prospecting because it's one of my favorites. We have a handful of discover companies prompts. So if you're prospecting for new companies, the first thing you're going to do is like, you need to find the companies. So let's do like size and technology. So I can look for companies in Utah with over 100,000 employees, let's say. Let's go 100,000 employees. Who use, let's say HubSpot. Show me companies in Utah with more than 1,000 employees who use HubSpot. And ChatSpot has found 21 companies for me. Now, if I'm prospecting, I can zoom out a bit here and do one of two things. I can research a company more specifically, or I can in one click add that to HubSpot. That's a great example of all of the unique value props of ChatSpot in a nutshell here. This is data you can't find in most places. Quick actions that understand your business and what you're trying to do, like either further research or add that company to HubSpot, and data presented in a way that meets your needs as a salesperson doing prospecting. So let's just kick off some additional prospecting and let's research this company, Health Equity. ChatSpot's going to return, and now one click here. There's a fun balance between using natural language and typing in your queries, but also just like one click kind of navigating that journey once you have an output. So now we have a deep dive on Health Equity. I can see their Twitter, their LinkedIn, all the technologies they use. And if I'm selling them technology, I'll probably use this either to sell against or complementary to. I can see the industries they're in, links to their socials, locations, and things like that. Again, I can quickly add them to HubSpot here, or I can take this even further to learn a little bit more about their search engine presence. So this is a template we have here under SEO. This is the search engine summary overall. So it's you can see their overall spend, their overall traffic, keywords, search value, and everything like that. Let's just see what paid keywords they're ranking for. Again, this is one click away. I can also use natural language to send these exact prompts and nothing changes. So there is like a really natural discovery pattern about for the user to figure out everything ChatSpot can do. So here's what I found. Here are the keywords that this company bids for: search volume, cost per click, URL to the search, I believe, and the traffic type. So that is a pretty simple prospecting use case. We
just real quick, Dylan. So you going back, I guess, to this privacy thing. Even if you don't have HubSpot connected, you can still use this to pull this information, right? Like this is not mining your CRM for information. This is going out and pulling information available on the web and aggregating it together.
That is correct. Yeah. I can answer a few questions from the chat right now that are quick ones, and we can I'll just pick and choose. If I don't pick yours, don't be offended. We can tackle it in FAQ. Catherine, all this information is coming from OpenAI LLM data points. No, it is not. This is kind of that thing I mentioned with the unique data points. Like we use OpenAI several steps along the process, GPT 3.5 or GPT 4, but this is not strictly OpenAI. And in fact, you could send this exact prompt to OpenAI and you will not get these results. I guarantee that. What we do is we use them to figure out the intent of the user. Then we go call a bunch of other different services, and then we assemble that. Exporting the list of companies found, Jennifer's question, and we can get through the other ones as I mentioned. I don't think we will support that anytime soon, in the same light that we try our best to prevent the outboundy case, right? We would prefer our salespeople are prospecting and selling in a very tailored and targeted way. And so they're not just simply hitting a bunch of calls to ChatSpot, exporting a bunch of data, both for the customer side, but also that opens us up to a huge risk for fraud, right? If all this information was easily accessible, easily accessible in such quantity, as easily exportable in such quantity, we open ourselves up to a huge fraud risk there. And the last question I just saw, Joaquim's answer there is both a question and the answer there to the export question. If we're providing that kind of fuel across the board, even if the internet was, I think it's better for all of us that is not the case, that there is still a very human and understood aspect of selling and prospecting in this way. I'm going to pop over and just show you all a few more prompts. And then it seems like the chat is super heavy. So I'd prefer we just dive into that. I do like the knowledge base search. So ask knowledge base. I'm actually going to clear this chat here. Ask knowledge base. How do I set a marketing contact? Now this is a tricky prompt because it is telling HubSpot or telling ChatSpot marketing and contact in the same format, right? And there's a lot of ambiguity to something like that. So in our case, this prefix of ask knowledge base : is actually really important. And so that's why the templates are critical in this case, because it helps us understand a bit further that the context is about HubSpot. And you can see the results here. Here's a result on how to set a marketing contact with the link as well. Let me poke around and see what kinds of things I should also show off. Let's do image generator, actually. And I really like image generator, and it's one of our most popular prompts for one reason, I believe, and it is that a lot of the image generation products out there, Stable Diffusion, DALL-E, and all of those like it, are independent. We're starting to see products like Bard roll in image generation, or at least image-based responses into their LLM. But ChatSpot does this really remarkable thing where it can combine both images and text outputs under one roof. So right now I'm going to play on brand and generate an image of a gigantic orange hat. I hear that is a thing in this room, and we'll see what ChatSpot does.
Oh, the anticipation. Hey, look at
that. Not bad. So that's a quick rundown. We will be re-adding in just a hot second the ability to quickly add something like this to your file manager. So you can do that here. And if you have a specific style of images, and I'll kind of back up here before I wrap, you can set your visual style here in the settings. There's also this additional information we're calling prompt architect, where you can set user information or company information. This is what I was referring to earlier in the presentation about us knowing your business and really understanding it. We intend to expand this significantly, allow the user to pre-fill as much data as they are willing to. Obviously, they can do none of it. But the more data that is pre-filled, the more impressed you will be with the responses, because we will use that data in targeted ways to improve them, to send them along with the question where needed, and provide better outputs.
Cool. Okay, so we have a mountain of questions for you.
Yeah. I figured it was best to address some of those.
We'll never keep up with the chat if we continue using the chat as the primary place for questions. So if you can all notice the tabs above the chat, there's the middle one called Q&A. You can head over there and not just drop your questions in right away, but look and see if you can find a question that sort of resembles the one you're trying to ask, and upvote it. There's a little thumbs up icon, and I will sort this by most upvoted and send them over to Dylan based on that. And we will get through as many as we can. And if yours isn't there, feel free to add it. But the upvoting system is how we're going to help as many of you as possible get your questions answered as quickly as possible. So I will, who am I kidding? I can't hold silence, but I will tell Dylan to hold off for just like 30 seconds while you all look through the list of questions, upvote, and then I will sort it and we will get there. But yeah, as advertised, Dylan, very engaged group with lots of questions.
Yeah, love it. It's the best.
Also, I just want to point out to you a comment. It scrolled by. It's been gone a while ago, but John said 4 minutes ago, the answer and the export answer. Dylan might be my favorite Hug guest so far. So
that is awesome. Thank you, John. Thank you, John.
Okay.
Try to keep it real.
I'm going to go ahead and sort this. Our top question with 17 upvotes is ChatSpot an extra subscription to our HubSpot cost?
No. Answer's no. Maybe one day there will be glamorous features that are much better, by and large, things that you could never even imagine happening today that we will maybe put under a seat, maybe put under a tier. Not exactly sure, but right now, everything you see on the screen, everything you are seeing today is entirely free, and I have no reason to believe any of that will change. And quite honestly, this product is so young, so new. We're learning so much every single day. I don't plan on visiting that conversation for quite some time. So enjoy.
Cool. And I want to call out too, the content assistant AI thing is also just when it launches later this month, it's going to be a free HubSpot feature. If you have HubSpot, you can use AI stuff. I think that's really exciting. Susie asks, can ChatSpot find contact information within the companies if it provides? So can you find contact information in the same way you were just finding company information?
Not as well. And there are some prompts that work, but they are not as performant. It relies on very public personas to have any sort of reasonable contact data. I wouldn't recommend it. I think any ways you're using to find contacts at companies today are better than anything a machine is going to be able to do in bulk and respond to you. It's just a really hard problem. A lot of data privacy underneath it that don't make things so great. I mean, you can ask it about Dharmesh or Brian or maybe Kyle, but like definitely not me. Like there's certainly like a line where the contact information is not that relevant. And I really doubt any of you are selling directly to these types of folks. Honestly, those folks aren't buyers of anything. So yeah.
If please don't go searching for my contact information online. Okay, cool. Can HubSpot pull intent data, i.e., a company is searching for a specific service?
Could you clarify that? Like, who's the company? Who's doing the searching?
Yeah, Charlene, if you want to, this would actually be a good thing to use the general chat for. If you want to go over, leave the QA tab, go to general, add some clarity there. Question has a lot of upvotes, so any of you 19 people who voted for that one, if you can give us some more info, that'd be good. I'll move on to the next one while we wait. Any plans to build or provide something like ChatSpot internally for CS and support?
For our CS and support teams? Or
I would guess for our customers. So
yeah.
I will say like the content assistant works with our live chat thing. I don't know, ChatSpot, CS use cases. You said it's mostly marketing and sales you're thinking about right now, right? A little bit of service.
Yeah. Like we really like the ChatSpot box is like very nicely contained to things that like enable end users to do things. Like when we start to look at like applications for the business to like, add ChatSpot to their site, I think it's really easy for folks to like kind of jump there. But what I think you'll end up seeing, and like we're figuring a lot of this out, this is also new, is that there are a lot of HubSpot product teams that own existing products today, like the knowledge base, like Content Assistant, like basically every tool that HubSpot builds. Folks, as a result of essentially this technology breakthrough, folks are thinking about those applications in new ways. And I don't think the broad sweeping like ChatSpot gets plugged into all those places. What I would wager begins to happen is you start seeing these apps have specific use cases. So like the knowledge-based tool will have additional AI layers to answer natural language questions, for example, instead of like ChatSpot doing it. Like I think that our container is a little bit better as like the end user all-in-one marketing and sales assistant.
Cool, makes sense.
I know that's like maybe a very inside baseball complicated question, but I think the overarching answer is no, not ChatSpot directly, but I think your solution will exist.
Yeah. So, I mean, maybe, yeah, I think the way I would phrase it also is HubSpot as a company is very interested, very invested in AI. So whether or not a particular feature gets added to ChatSpot, it might show up somewhere else in the HubSpot platform. There's a pretty good chance it will. We're finding lots of places to plug AI in. Charlene has provided some clarification around the intent data question. So she says, if my sales team wants to do prospecting, services like Zoom Info will give a list of companies looking for specific services so that our sales team can use that list and call them knowing that they are in market. So is ChatSpot thinking about anything like that?
No, I haven't explored that, but I'm super interested now. Charlene, if you want to touch base, that would be really cool. I think the prospecting use case is like one of the most pure for ChatSpot. So I'd love to chat about it if you're interested. I'd love to learn a little bit more about what like your sales team's process. I'm D Sellberg at HubSpot.com, or Dylan at HubSpot.com is probably easier.
Whoa, snag the first name email address, huh?
I don't know if they still allow that, but it was a long time ago.
Cool. Josh asks, could you conceivably use ChatSpot to create specific content for playbooks?
Sure, absolutely.
But no direct connection to the playbooks tool right now, right?
No, not yet. We should do that. We should absolutely do that. We should have a playbooks tie-in. And as part of that, we should use a lot of that like prompt architect setting I told you about, where like we understand a boatload of your business and can make those playbooks like fantastic.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
Super generic.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah.
Well, that's like that's cool.
If you're using HubSpot call recording, like we can transcribe and like this is what a successful call looks like. Here's your playbook. Whoa, that would be wild. Okay. Josh, you just blew my mind. Okay, John asks, one of the big issues I have is that if you feed one of these models data, that data is then available for all. How do you reconcile data security needs, i.e. no disclosure of sensitive commercial information, with the way that these models work?
I don't know. Same answer to the earlier security question. I'm definitely not the right person to answer that. And spending every minute that I'm awake thinking about these problems, I'm not sure there's anybody in the world who is. So it's a difficult question. Again, if you have sensitive data and you're not interested in it being fed to a model or a database that you cannot see and touch, then I'd stay far away. But these are big companies with big teams who are very dedicated to data privacy, and I personally trust it all and understand that what the consequences are, and I understand the value there, but I don't know the proper answer there. Yeah,
and I mean, I would encourage all of you who are thinking about privacy, because it is important, it does matter. Start with the FAQ that Dylan sent over. What was it? Just ChatSpot / FAQ.
Yeah, it's FAQ. I'll put it in the chat.
and see if that answers your questions. And then remember too that there are things you can use ChatSpot for without being connected to your HubSpot account. So in that case, none of your HubSpot data is in any way involved in what's being generated. There are probably, if not clear divisions, at least gradients of privacy.
Behind the scenes, if the concern is like explicitly HubSpot data, we're and I don't know if this is outlined in the privacy policy because it may not be like the most pure answer across the board. There may be like gaps in this, but like generally, when you send ChatSpot something, we send what you sent to OpenAI, and we may send pieces of that to OpenAI or vendors. What we use OpenAI for is to understand what we need to do next. And so like if you ask for a list of your companies or your notes, we don't go back to OpenAI as far as in the broad sweeping set of use cases to like send them your notes too. Like we just kind of ask them in that use case, like, what do we do with this question? And so they'll receive your question. So
OpenAI acts as like a translator as people ask ChatSpot a question, but if the answer is being pulled from HubSpot, if it is a list of your companies, that's not going through OpenAI and back to them. It's just appearing in this chat interface without touching OpenAI at all.
Correct. Okay. With the gigantic clause of like that is maybe impure with exceptions here and there, and like pieces of data, and may or may not be the case forever, but like it is mostly the case.
Cool. Right. I hope that's helpful to people. Zach asks, is there any way to see which companies in your HubSpot portal have been added or created using ChatSpot? Is it like listed as a source or?
Yeah, it is a source.
Cool.
Yeah. Ooh, that's an interesting. We should make like do we still have default lists? It's been a while since I've been in that world.
But probably. I assume so.
It used to just be like the personas.
Yeah.
And folks would either love them or say, how do I get rid of these default lists? One of the two things would happen, but that would be, it is a source.
Cool. Daryl asks, does ChatSpot now check for existing domains to avoid creating duplicates when adding a company? So I think you did that researching thing. There was that add to HubSpot button. Is it checking for duplicates?
I believe on the company side it is not, but we do plan to enforce that very soon.
Cool.
Yeah. There are a lot of things given the nature of this product, alpha product. It was built quickly for speed to market, for customer validation. There are things today that are not ideal that we know we would like to fix, but it's a matter of prioritizing how important they are. So there are like several cases of things where it's like, yeah, we're going to do that. We'd love to do that. It's just a matter of the rest of stuff.
Yeah. Again, it's an alpha. Be patient. give it a little grace. Caleb asks, if you add a company to your HubSpot account from ChatSpot, is the source recorded? I think that might be the same question we answered before, but just phrased differently. Caleb, if there's nuance there that we missed, let us know in the chat. Colton asks, are there any plans to get ChatSpot connected to chatbots to help sales and service teams? Okay, I feel like we got that one kind of also earlier, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Trevor asks, are these company properties already loaded in your HubSpot, or does it find this info through a product like ZoomInfo and create a record from that? So I think we clarified this earlier. You're not just searching your HubSpot data. This is data pulled from publicly available sources and vendors and things, and we packaged it up for you.
Yes, that is correct. There is going to be a really cool thing we do one day where we say, and we built it in a hackathon recently, where we can cross that public data with things in your HubSpot account. The thing we built during the hackathon is, I would show the video, but if this weren't recorded, because it would make it too far. It's too good, but I'll explain it. We actually like referenced closed won deals, profiled the companies tied to the closed won deals, then like assembled a search query based on like those company profiles, and said like, find me companies that look like my existing customers. Whoa. And that was like super cool. That aren't in my CRM, by the way. And that was like really cool. We got it to work in a day. It's not that it's a few moons away from being production ready, to say the least, but it's possible.
held together with baling wire and bubble gum. And
Precisely. Yeah.
yeah.
We committed many software development crimes that day. Yeah.
All right. Well, what happens at the admin hug stays at the admin hug. We won't tell. Thomas asks, how well do the content generation features work regarding SEO? My biggest concern with AI generative content is negatively affecting website SEO.
Yeah. I don't know.
I love how transparent you are about this. This is the frontier sort of product, friends.
Yeah.
We are at a transformational moment in human technology, and we don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Not sure. I mean, the thing I would think is SEO is like, I used to know a good bit about SEO. Now I know nothing about SEO. I know it's a very fast changing landscape. So I'm almost going to like throw away everything I knew. But what I did know was that like age had a huge thing. Like age and page rank was like how refreshed was the content, how new was it, how recent was it published. And also it's like kind of much more of a science than an art. And so like, it sounds like we need to like tinker and see what works. And also like there was industry specific results. Like maybe it's brilliant at SEO and SaaS, but like horrible in aerospace. It feels like a tinkerer's dream. It feels like somebody could make a white paper on that and like sell it to Google or something.
Yeah. Tuli asks, what languages does ChatSpot support? Can us non-native English speakers use our mother tongues to use ChatSpot?
It works not great today. There will be cases where it does work. Not proud of it. That's a fast follow to the alpha is supporting ChatSpot in all of our users supported languages. I would imagine like we're kind of limited to the constraints of the services and products that we use. So I'd imagine it will never be. It's tough to say, but right now it will work in some places. But if you are running into snags, it's on a short list to fix that as part of bringing this product from alpha and beyond.
Cool. Any timeline on when CP is getting out of alpha beta?
Yeah, I just stopped sharing too. I can pull things back up if needed, but
cool, yeah.
Figured that was more helpful. We're targeting. There's an event that happens in the fall usually, hosted by HubSpot.
I think I know what event that is.
Yeah, it's one of the. It seems like a good place to make a move, like a more mature product out of alpha. So
cool. Yeah. Nina asks, we get a lot of having trouble accessing the HubSpot service. Please try again later on our prompts. Why is this happening? Can we do anything to improve this situation?
I'm really happy you asked. The product, as part of the June 1st migration, we had to make a handful of trade-offs. One of those trade-offs was I call it like a trickling support of HubSpot specific commands. So anything that accesses your HubSpot data is like a fast follow to the June 1st move. Since June 1st, there's essentially a laundry list of maybe like 20 commands that we were working on as efficiently as we could with all other things going on. I believe, have tackled like 12 of them. And the team tells me that the remaining list will be completed this week. So that specific error of like accessing the HubSpot service has struggled a bit over the last 12 days, and will continue to improve and should be ironed out by the end of this week.
Nice. That's fast resolution there.
It's a very fast moving product.
Darren asks, do you see a future where ChatSpot can analyze and communicate with customer data? Things like identifying ICPs, creating personas, and lead scoring. You talked about that a little bit with the closed won deals. Is that kind of like a direction you see moving in general? Yeah.
I think that I love the persona use case. That's maybe one of the first things we try out of like a very intense prompt. Like you feed HubSpot or ChatSpot a good amount of data, and you get a longer response time. Like instead of 8 seconds, it's like maybe like 30 or 40. And we work a little bit harder to get that data reformatted into a persona-based case. And I think the follow on to that is like doing it automatically using all of your Hub data.
Cool. Tillman asks, how updated is the data we get from ChatSpot? Is it from 2021, 2022, 2023?
I bet some of the data was updated yesterday, and some of the data has not been updated maybe since any of us have been born. That part's probably not true. But with just the nature of the product, calling a handful of vendors and using different services, and like each of those services, including HubSpot, having a corpus of data of like tens of thousands of records in all different types, you're going to see things that maybe you could like open Twitter and realize something is different. And like that is going to happen. As always, like verify the data. If you're prospecting, like figure out who's who. I was trying to, it's going to rain this weekend. I was trying to find an indoor gym for my son in New Hampshire that we can like go and play. He's 14 months old. And I thought I had a great lead, and 10 of the results on Google were like, this place is great. And then I called and nobody answered. And then I found one random thread that said they were closed. So that's the nature of data on the internet.
Yeah.
Things are changing in the world that take time to propagate across the World Wide Web.
Nicholas asks, how can I train my company's ChatSpot?
The prompt architect fields. Right now, those are user specific. So it's that setting that I highlighted. And I'll just share screen once more. These settings here. Right now, we are not training ChatSpot based on your specific commands or specific responses or thumbs up, thumbs down in a specific way. I would appreciate and love any sort of like thumbs up, thumbs downs to the responses as you go. As always, that helps like us refine the broader use case, but we are not like automatically training any broader HubSpot model. And none of that's happening at the portal level based on the responses quite yet. We're doing that in a manual way, quite honestly. But these settings here are the way that we will feed specific prompts to ChatSpot for you. So like target audience is a great example. Like if you fill this with 5,000 characters, who you sell to and every detail about them, we would use that to create a better blog post, to create a better social tweets, to create a better sales email. Frankly, that's happening in very few places today, but I have like full intention to make this work more broadly. I think it's going to be incredibly valuable for our customers to do this one time and just get better results across the board. And like those not generic results that you can get from any other product. It's a differentiator we have.
Cool. Can ChatSpot enrich the data for existing records? For example, add domains for company records?
Not yet because of that deduplication issue. Once that's fixed, it will.
Cool.
Yep.
In Dharmesh's video, he uses an example asking how many website visits we got on the account. When I'm asking that question, ChatSpot is telling me there's no analytics data. Is there an extra step I need to take to get traffic pulled through?
No, that is a very good and specific example of one of the HubSpot specific prompts that got lost in the migration. It should be back by the end of this week. If not, shoot me an email. We'd love to figure it out for you.
Hannah asks, if ChatSpot is connected to your HubSpot account, can it write content based on your specific HubSpot personas?
Prompt architect, same answer there. Right now, it will not do much, but soon, like that target audience piece, like the step one in the product development here is like allow separate user input. So like you tell us about your personas and we'll go write better content based on that. Step two is you don't even have to tell ChatSpot. We'll just like look through your closed one, your contacts, frequently contacted, things like that, and assemble that profile. But like version one is visit ChatSpot settings, fill in some prompt architect data, and we will take care of that. You will notice over the next, like, I don't know, I'd say 3-4 weeks, the number of fields in there and the number of inputs we want to collect is going to increase. There's not that many right now, and there's not a lot of places we can plug that data in. But the more data we have, we can like take bits and pieces and plug it in all these really cool and unique places to give you better results.
Cool. Everybody, we have 10 minutes left. I'm going to keep pelting Dylan with questions till we are totally out of time. But I do want to call your attention to in just the general chat pane, Deanna has dropped a survey. Would love your feedback on this session. Any thoughts you have on how we can make this hug more useful to you in the future? And Dylan, you mentioned email is a good way to contact you. If people want to get in touch with you after this, is that your preferred?
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably best. Unless you have an established filtering channel set up.
I don't.
One thing I will say is emails like maybe not the channel I'm hanging out on the most often, and I might get a lot of duplicate requests. I'm listening. I'm listening to everything. If I don't respond, trust me, I'm listening. I opened it. I read it. You can track the email. Use HubSpot to do that. I'll open it. I might open it a few times. I'm reading it, but if I don't respond to you, please don't be offended.
Cool. That is a great caveat to share. Is there any time ChatSpot will have a workaround section so people could say what they are trying to fix? A ChatSpot could deliver a possible things to try.
Like an NPS maybe is what I'm reading into that, or like a more detail on the thumbs up, thumbs down.
I'm not sure.
That's what we will do. So right now, when you give like a smiley face or sad face to a response, it's just like does nothing, just records it. We want to make that a little bit more detailed because, quite honestly, that data is not very helpful to us. I think what we'll do there is add like a quick little sub form. Right, it's like 3 little options of like why wasn't this good, and we'll like give you that, and then like an open text field if you would like to share it.
Cool. Is there a minimum of data that I should have in CRM to start using ChatSpot?
No, 0. We have users without a connected hub who are getting a ton of value from ChatSpot right now.
And could be a good way to get some data into HubSpot.
Precisely. Yeah.
Jesse says, I tried it and found 130 companies, but I can only see 10. How do I view the remaining?
Oh, I hope we can fix that this week. I love that problem. And it's very easy to solve. Like I'm told, I don't know. I've been told that before and it wasn't that easy. But yesterday I sent an email that was like all about prospecting. If you sign up for HubSpot, you will get like my Monday emails about, they're just like a quick video of me talking about things we're doing. But I sent it all about prospecting, and we got a ton of prospecting use cases, and people were like hammering in the system to like prospect, and it was really cool. But I knew about this pagination issue, but it was really, really clear yesterday. And so we talked about it as a team, and we're going to go fix it.
Cool. Yeah. Can I answer?
Make it super easy. Like we're not going to give export. You're going to have to page through. And if you want like to page through less, you have to use more specific prompts.
Yeah. But I love that. Like as the guy who taught sales at HubSpot Academy for a long time, like you got to have humans involved at some point if you want to do a good job selling and not make people hate you.
Yes.
We're not trying to help you get out of it.
Like, yeah. Otherwise, you're not going to sell anything.
Yeah.
Do anything. You're just, yeah.
Steve asks, building on Scott's question on uploaded documents, if you connect HubSpot, will ChatSpot pull in your HubSpot CMS web pages, blog, knowledge base, or is it only CRM data?
Well, we're not going to pull in anything like specific. Are you like? I guess the clarification there maybe matters. The prompt architect piece is once we have URLs in there, we can crawl the website and use that for like your tone, for example, or like words you like or proper nouns and things like that. And we'll do that just like we will say like, okay, it was your typical like customer.
Cool.
So yes.
We
will probably have once we start doing the web crawling, we'll probably have to add a thing that says like we're going to crawl the website, but like robots have already done it this hour, so like it's fine. We'll have to say something like that, but we'll basically read all the text, assemble that, figure out a tone, and then everything we create for you in the future, we'll do our best to like mirror that.
Okay. So I'm looking at these questions. There are still a lot of questions, Dylan. And we're getting to the point where most of the questions have like 4 or fewer upvotes. We're starting to get into more specific use cases. Like Lori asks, I keep getting errors trying to find companies in Europe that use SAP. Can you try that and to see if you get any result? I don't know how best you want to use our final 6 minutes here.
Yeah. I maybe I'll use this and then dovetail into like a broader messaging. Like this is a good example. I don't know, but my hunch is that SAP is not very indexable by ChatSpot. So try a different technology. Or maybe Europe is too broad. I think Europe was the example. Maybe try a specific country or a city with SAP. I don't know. I will get the same response on my end. I could review the error logs and figure out exactly why. But I would recommend trying a few things, figure out what works. That would be my hunch in that one. Ultimately, this is a new product that's growing all the time. And so please be patient. It's an alpha. It's kind of the big piece.
Cool. One thing I think that would be very good for us to cover before we call it a day is the sign up flow. What is the current, if people here have not tried ChatSpot yet, what is it still like by invitation only? Like what is signing up for the alpha look like?
No, it's open to everybody. It's open to the world. From chatspot.ai, you can log in with your HubSpot account, or you can sign up. I'd imagine like 100% of this audience is a HubSpot user. So
I would expect pretty close. Yeah.
So you probably don't need to sign up. You can also, if you want to go even quicker, you can go app.hubspot.com/chatspot, and you should be automatically already logged in with your existing hub.
Whoa.
And off to the races. One thing we'll do, which I would love, actually, like maybe my favor to this entire group of 189 of you left, please nobody leave during the favor. We're going to ship a thing in like a few days that allows you to customize the sprocket to go to ChatSpot. So, you know, like today you can go to like reports, dashboard, or contacts, or anything like that. We're going to add ChatSpot in that menu. If you like the product, if you use the product, switch the sprocket to ChatSpot. It's the quickest way to access it. So I would love to see how that works.
So that is one of my favorite tips about HubSpot. I want to make sure everybody knows that is an option. So let me just share my screen here real quick. If we share that, great. So I'm going to go over to my settings here. You're seeing this, right? I think it's under your general preferences. You can set your home page to a lot of different things. There are a ton of options here. And what that means is when you log into HubSpot, this is the place you're going to land. And when you click this sprocket button up here, that's where you're going to land. And what Dylan is saying is ChatSpot is going to get added to this list. So then if you want to navigate to ChatSpot, instead of having to go to chatspot.ai, type that into your URL or bookmark it somewhere, you could just click this button, that's pretty cool. That's exciting. So there's your, when do you expect that to be a thing?
Soon. If you sign up for product, that will definitely be something I talk about in the weekly update.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. There is also, Kyle, if you have settings open, could you just share real quick?
Oh, yeah.
Last thing, maybe the least exciting thing to end on, but we're gonna do it.
Let's see. Hold on. Close that tab. It's reopened now. Okay.
Nina, I saw your question. The end of this week. I would love that. That would be cool. Maybe. If you could go down to the bottom of tools.
What?
Or does tools expand settings? Yeah. ChatSpot. So there's a little icon there, and it doesn't do anything other than turn it off, which is why it's the least exciting thing to end on. But it's here nonetheless. For any of you all who are like concerned about data privacy, again, this is a free product, so any user in your hub can navigate to ChatSpot and use it. If that is like against company policy, or you just want to take a minute to like digest all of this, you can flip it off right here, and then nobody from your hub will be able to use your hub data in ChatSpot. They can access it otherwise, but they will not be able to use it connected to your hub.
Cool. Yeah. All right.
Alana, for product updates, if you sign up for the product, you will make it to the ChatSpot CRM, and I send an automated email every week when I post the blog. So you'll get those just about weekly.
Cool. All right. Well, that is our show. Dylan, thank you so much for being here today. All of you who came, thank you so much for joining. Love seeing such a big crowd. Love talking about AI. Hope you all have a great Tuesday. I'm going to stop recording, and then I'm going to shut it down.
Thanks, Dylan.
Thanks, everyone.